Reflectors in the human design system, you are also called lunar types, and this immediately shows that the moon plays a very significant role in your lives. But why? What is so important about the moon for you? Let's talk about that. Reflectors are called lunar types because they are ruled by the moon. Because as a reflector, you are here to reflect the others, to reflect the transits, which means that you yourself, you don't have any definition. So let me explain that in different words. Every human design type, except for reflectors, has a sense of definition in a chart. That is where two or more centers are activated, colored in, or defined. It all means the same thing. So as you can see, this is my chart. I have two centers colored in, activated, defined. And in these centers that are colored in, this is where we are sending out energy into the world, where we are sending energy onto other people. This is where we therefore also experience a sense of consistency. This is an energy that is always present within us, where the white centers, wherever that is in your chart, that is where you are experiencing energy from other people. That is where we are taking energy in. And so, except for reflectors, every single type has a sense of definition, a sense of consistency that they can count on. Now, for you, a reflector whose chart is white in every single center, you therefore don't have a sense of consistency that you can count on. You are taking energy in every single center of your chart, and that can be really challenging for you as a reflector. Now, of course, there's a reason that you have this chart, and there's truly immense wisdom and power that lies within that chart. However, that sense of consistency can be something that you really crave, and that is where the moon comes in for you. You see, every single reflector, you have your own unique moon cycle. The moon moves through every single gate, which are the numbers in a human design chart. And by the way, if you want to learn more about how to read a human design chart, then check out this video. Or if you're listening on a podcast right now, go to episode 9. But I have to say, I do highly recommend the video version for this one. But check that one out to see exactly how to read an entire chart. So over the span of about 28 days, the moon will activate each of the 64 gates in the human design system. And what happens is that as a gate gets activated, the different centers in your chart will be activated for a little while as well. And that pattern is consistent. That can give you the consistency that you're craving, because the way that this is playing out in your reflector chart is unique for you, meaning that the gate that gets activated day by day, that is the same for everyone. But how that plays out in your unique reflector chart, that is unique for you, and that is a consistent pattern that you can count on. So for example, let's say that you already have gate 2 activated, which is in the G center, and the moon is now activating gate 14, which is in the sacral center. This means that you now temporarily have a channel between the centers, the G center and the sacral center, which means that you are temporarily experiencing what it is like to be a generator with a consistent sense of who you are. So remember, in order to have two centers activated, you need to have an activated channel. And in order to have an activated channel, you need to have two activated gates. So even though you do not have activated centers in your human design chart as a reflector, you do always have activated gates in your birth chart. So over the course of the 28 days in the cycle of a moon, you are going to have different centers or different channels activated in your chart, which will allow you to experience different ways of being throughout that cycle of 28 days, meaning that maybe on day 10 of your cycle, you are always a generator. And maybe on day 20, you are always a projector. That pattern where you know on which day of the cycle, what experience you'll be having, that pattern is unique and consistent for you. It is something you can always count on. And so tracking that for yourself is incredibly helpful when you think about knowing what energy to expect and expecting things is huge for you as a reflector. So knowing what energy to expect is going to be a life changer for you. And think about planning future events. This is where it's also incredibly helpful because let's say that you're on day 10, you're a generator, and somebody asks you to meet up and you're super excited. So you're like, yes, I want to do that. But now the day that you're actually going to meet up is, let's say, day 20 of your cycle. And this is where you feel like a projector. You may or may not have the actual energy needed on that day. And if you don't, you may have to cancel, or you don't want to cancel. And so you push through, which may not actually be healthy for you. And you can see how there's just a lot of inconsistency that can happen where you say yes to something, but then you're not sure if you can actually follow through. Now, knowing what your unique pattern is and therefore what you can expect on which days of your cycle is going to help you to stay consistent in that sense. While, of course, you want to honor the fact that you just are a beautifully fluid being. But given that consistency, you know exactly what it is that you can or cannot do, on which days you have more energy and how to utilize that energy, and on which days it's really better for you to just take your rest and maybe go a little bit more into a bubble of your own. The way to find out your unique reflector cycle is going to be a very hands-on project for at least one cycle, but preferably for 2, because it's going to help you to really understand exactly what it feels like every 28 days. And this is why with private reflector clients, I really like to track it for the full 3 cycles that we're working together, because outside of everything else that we're doing together, it's going to make sure that they really know exactly what to expect every 28 days and have a solid understanding of that. And if you want to join my ongoing Energetics of Success group program, the link to read more about that, join us if you like, is in the description below. But if you want to join that, I'd be so happy to help you in there as well. Now, for this entire process, I really like to use Genetic Matrix, and the link for that is in the description below as well if you want to check that out. And Genetic Matrix has a lunar transition calendar, which is where you can see exactly which gates are going to be activated by the moon on which days, and more uniquely, which channel that is going to activate in your unique chart, meaning that you can see exactly what energy you're going to be experiencing outside of that specific gate that will be activated. What else does it do in your chart? What are all the things you're going to experience based on that? That's what you can see there. And even though you can see this a month ahead of time, where the work really is not just in knowing what is going to be activated, but in noting down and reflecting on what it is that you're experiencing on that day. What are you feeling in your body, and how is that expressing for you, uniquely for you, based on those transits, meaning the movement of the moon? What are you experiencing in your life? Because that is what you're going to be able to start expecting in future cycles. And that's also why I said, like, the more cycles you can do this for, this active reflecting on what you're feeling on a day-to-day basis, the clearer it's going to be what you can expect moving forward. So even though this is a little bit of work, it's going to really help you to live that life of consistency so that you can create your reality from that conscious place and awareness of what to expect, which is going to help you to live that aligned reflector life as well, because that expectation and anticipation is a beautiful part of you being in your strength. The more that you do this, the more that you'll know exactly what energy levels to expect, and even a kind of mood that you can expect on a day-to-day basis. So you can, again, have that consistency and really create your life consciously. And if you want to know more about how to create your life consciously, then I highly suggest watching this video next or checking out episode 1 on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here, for lighting up the world with your energy, and I'll see you in the next one.